Name of the podcast is Dream Plan Execute, where I highlight individuals who dream frictionless, plan thoroughly, execute relentlessly. And Treshawna Hutchinson, you're definitely one of those persons.
Primary school, always doing track and field, cheerleading, any type of sport, I was involved and ready to go for it. So while at university, I did get pregnant and I had my son. And then I had to just take a break and I transitioned into the working world, working in finance, customer service for about 4 to 5 years. From there, I took a decision to say, okay, when I start something, I'm going to finish it. Got back into university and here I am now, finishing up my bachelor's degree. There is something about that early rise. I'm up from like after 5 in the morning. You go out to train, you get that done. I go to school, then I head to the office, get some hours in, do your work. So I'm back in bed around 11, 12.
What you use in your mental fortitude to deal with like these difficult moments?
It comes back down to support system who is there for you. Having coaches that you're able to speak to. I've been doing track. My body, physique looks very athletic. So what I've actually embarked on recently is the bodybuilding, beach fitness, beach wellness. All of these are something that I'm actually going to be entering to compete very soon. I would like to showcase and hopefully be able to represent my country.
If you could look back and tell your younger self some tips or things that you would want to pass on to a younger version to yourself, what would that be?
Trust yourself and believe in yourself. And the path that you're trotting is not like anyone else's. You have your own story to tell, so don't doubt yourself.
Treshawna, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Roman. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast. Name of the podcast is Dream Plan Execute, where I highlight individuals who dream frictionless, plan thoroughly, execute relentlessly. And Treshawna Hutchinson, you're definitely one of those persons. Now, I wanted to know, I know you from high school and what you've done after high school, but we want to know who Treshawna Hutchinson was before high school. What was your initial passion as a kid in primary school and how that's evolved over the years?
Well, in primary school, I was always athletic, so that's nothing
Mm.
new. Always winning, that was a drive for me. And I think I just love people overall, just being a kind person, that was me. But at that stage, I just wanted to get so big, see what the world
hmm
had to offer.
So hold on. So like, what type of athletics were you into? Track, soccer, tennis? What you
Definitely
did?
track and field. So at the early stages, primary school, always doing track and field, the usual
Mm-hmm.
track and field, cheerleading, any type of sport, I was involved and ready to go for it.
Okay, so I mean, there's a world of things you've done since then. I mean, you're studying marine biology. We'll get into that. You know, went to Arden High, which is a prominent high school in Jamaica, and you're also starting your own fitness brand slash also being your own track star at UWI. But so it's always been a passion to be in track. Like that's something you naturally gravitated to, or did like a coach
Yes,
see you running, or like how did you get into it?
yes, it was. It's just natural because growing up in the countryside, you just have a love for running and transitioning it into actually athletics. That's something that I personally want. The goal is actually to represent my country someday. So I've been on that journey working on it. But any type of physical activity, whether it be tennis, whether it be swimming, anything, I'm willing to go ahead and learn any sport, but I just love track and field.
Gotcha. What do you call countryside for the viewing audience or listening
Okay,
audience?
so I grew up, I'm actually from deep rural, but that's Linstead, specifically Cheesefield, St. Catherine, small community there. That's where I'm actually from. And I used to travel from
Gotcha.
there all the way to Kingston to Arden.
Yo, let's talk about that. So G set happens. You find out was Arden initially your first choice? Like how was G set for you?
Definitely. So for me, the inspiration came from Julian Maxwell in the early days because
To
in the early
everybody,
days I
right?
was a speller and I
Hmm.
found the influence that wow, she was a spelling bee champion and she went to Arden. I need to be like her. So
Got you.
definitely Arden was my first choice and to me it was the only choice. I didn't want to go anywhere else. And fortunate enough,
Mm.
the hard work paid off and I got my first choice.
Got you. Understood. I think everyone echoes that sentiment. I wasn't great at spelling. It was never my strong suit, but I just liked how she conducted herself on the world stage. And I was like, this is a school that I could see myself going to. And it was my first choice for that very reason, because of Jodie and Maxwell. I was just like, yeah, this is dope. I like her energy. I like how, she carried herself. I was like, I need to go to this school. So very interesting. So you got to Arden. And then what happened at Arden? Like, did you continue? Did you fall off when you come to track? Did you keep doing track? Like, what happened to
No.
Arden?
Funny enough, I've never been to a champs actually representing Arden. I've
Mm-hmm.
gone with Charlemagne, where I went to for sixth form. But my
Okay.
years at Arden, I was always active in track and field. I was sports captain, I was house captain, and I was always
Mm-hmm.
doing track. So the love was always there. But at the time, the level of dedication, I think, wasn't there to transition me into the champ stage during track and field in those times.
Yeah, and you have to think like Jamaica is such a competitive environment, especially for track and field, right? So what would fly in the US just won't fly in Jamaica, right? And then again, like Arden is a predominantly academic environment, right?
Yeah.
It's not as rounded as the other traditional high schools, like say, like if you went to on the guys side, if you went to Casey or Calabar, you would both have academic excellence and also athletic excellence, right? I feel like I don't know the areas that were strong in athletics was basketball. Like we always crushed there, right?
And that's true.
Um,
I
yeah.
think you're right because Arden was never really represented in high numbers or volumes. And even presently today, we do have persons that represent, but we don't have a strong presence in track and
Hmm.
field then. So I wouldn't have probably excelled in the way I wanted to at the time, but I still had great foundation from that stage.
Yeah, no, I mean, one thing I will always say about Ireland is that it does set you up for whatever it gives you all the tools in the tool shed. Like there's persons who and they talk about agriculture and they never farm or do anything. I was like, yeah, we did that. I didn't. Yeah, you learn Spanish and French. You learn music. It gives you a broad palette, and you can choose from that palette what you want to do with it. And everybody else like chose what they wanted to do with it. So one thing that I always highlight on the podcast is your ikigai, and what your ikigai is for intersecting circles, right? Which is what you love doing, right? What the world needs, right? What you are passionate about, which is what you love doing, but also what someone would pay you for, right? And that's important. Like all those four things, you're good at it, the world needs it, you love doing it, and people will pay you for it. Is your ikigai? It's called your life. You like your life path, right? And it seems through your love for track and field and your love for taking care of people and making sure people feel good and organized is where you're trending towards in your growth in UE and past UE. But I don't want to dive too deep into that yet. I kind of want to find out a little bit more about like where your passion for track and field started, or like what made you like track and field versus other sports.
Okay, so for me, track and field in Jamaica, back then in the early 2000s, seeing your country being represented at Olympics on the world stage, it
Yeah.
was, you felt elated. It was such a great feeling. And
Yeah.
just knowing that, okay, being able to run, participate, and just by winning those small medals in the small competitions, you grew
Yeah.
more passion for the same sport, and you'd want to be able to probably reach one day, just like those persons, be able to represent your country. So I think that's where my drive was from in
Hmm.
the early stages, just watching the Olympics and World Championships and see my country being represented. That was a big push for me in terms of pushing through and sticking with track.
Yeah, and so like was it always like was it 100 meters that you like doing? Was it 200? Like what was your was it the field events when you were younger? Like how did that evolve over time?
So actually, I love the relays and I do love the 100 meter. Any sort of sprint event, I think it's just great to watch. So that was very good for me. But surprisingly, my discipline was actually in long jump. And
Hmm.
that was through exposure at Arden. I realized, hey, I can do this, and it's a foundation. It's something that not as competitive as being on the sprint team, as you mentioned earlier. Track and field in Jamaica is very competitive. So you want to
Right.
tap into something that, okay, it's not overpopulated, that you can still probably make your mark there and get a
Hmm.
chance to represent your country in that discipline.
Gotcha. And then when did you like figure that's what you wanted to do? Because you said you were Arden, then you did sixth form. What subjects you studied in sixth form?
So it was through Arden. That's where I started my interest in long
Yeah.
jump. However, for sixth form, I had a drastic shift. I was initially arts major, you call it.
Mm,
However, I decided I was going to switch from a general studies to a science major because I
gotcha.
added biology at the time. So I would have done
Mm,
geography, biology, arts, and also I believe the regular communication studies and Caribbean
yeah.
studies. So that would have set the foundation for me because I was planning on transitioning to marine biology, which was what I, and presently is what I'm currently doing,
Right.
finalizing my degree in marine biology.
What what sparked that interest in marine biology?
So from ever since I know myself, I love water, love ocean, love nature at its best. So I'm an environmentalist at heart. However,
Mm,
tapping into marine biology would give me the opportunity and the chance to constantly and always be in touch with the environment, water, ocean. And if anybody knows me, I'm going to be at a river, I'm going to be at a beach. So why not
gotcha.
study it and learn much more about it? So yes, plus my interest in tourism, I think they're a great pair. So I get to meet people, which I love,
Hmm.
as well as I'm also enjoying the environment and taking care of it.
Okay, so it hits all of the ikigai type like aspects, right? You love it, you know, the world needs it, you're good at it, they're willing to pay you for it, so you went after it. But you mentioned just a minute ago finishing up. So that means like somewhere between Arden and sixth form, you went and you started working, or did you go straight to uni? Like what was that transition like?
So for me, I'd like to say life happens. And earlier when you
Mm-hmm.
said, like what was it like when you were younger and how you'd think of the future, honestly,
Yeah.
you'd think that when you're looking at getting old and growing up, life is gonna
Hmm.
happen in this specific way and things are
Right.
just gonna just play out like that. But it didn't. And I started to realize that for me, everybody, their life is on their own pace and it's happening at just that. So while at
Yes.
university, I did get pregnant and I had my son. And then I had to just take a break, step back, and I transitioned into the working world, working in finance, customer service for about 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
And from there, I took a decision to say, okay, I'm not the type of quitter. So when I start something, I'm gonna finish it. So I said, okay,
Yeah.
let's go back. Got back into university, and here I am now finishing up my bachelor's degree. I should be finished by the end of this year. So I'm back with a mission, with an aim to just get it done because I'm not about quitting. When you start something, you're gonna see it through. So
Yeah, I
yes.
love it. You know what? I love it because like a lot of times people come on a pod and like you listen to stories online and it doesn't talk about real life. You know what I mean? Like things happen in real life that doesn't it if you make it be a setback, it's going to be a setback, right? And then the mental fortitude that's required to be a champion, no one really focuses on that. It's not just the physical attributes, but it's the mental discipline to show up when things don't go according to plan and keep coming back at it and attacking the problem. And I think that's a great story of resilience, because a lot of persons would, I always tell people, give yourself some grace. You know what I mean? Like, life happened, but you could have just kept beating yourself up about not finishing, right? As opposed to that switch where you're like, actually, I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish it. And I think a lot of people look to sports for that. To be honest, when people watch sports and you talk about the underdog, people look in sports for that inspiration for their own self in their own life, right? Like, how is he going to come back from a 15-point deficit in 3 minutes in the basketball finals, right? Like, how is he going to make up that length of time when somebody got a better batting exchange than that person, right? And like, those stories really make you get goosebumps in the back of your head because you want it in your own personal life. So my question to you now is like, what was that switch for you? When was it like, I want to go back and I'm going to go back, and you're like, I'm committed to making it happen and
So
executing it?
for me, I want to sum it up with a recent event where
Mm,
just the other day we were at sports day at the university, and best believe we were in a relay,
right.
and I was on the second leg, and the baton was coming in, and it was coming in fast. We were the first to exchange, and
Yeah.
I tripped. I collected the baton. However,
Yeah.
I stumbled. I fell over, flipped all the way over 360, got back
Yeah.
up, and I went off to pass on the baton. And we were
Hmm.
still able to captivate a spot on the finishing podium. We finished
That's
second.
amazing.
And I think that was remarkable. And my mother said, that's your life right there. That's your life right there. And I agree with her because for me, that was my life in terms of
Mm,
I fell down, university was hitting hard, and
hmm.
I had to
Yeah.
take a step back. But I got myself up, picked myself up, and I came back. I said, listen, this is something I do need, and I'm going to get it done and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to finish it. Being out there in the working world, I got to realize that, listen, I wasn't fulfilled enough just by doing a regular 9 to 5. I'm like,
Mm.
listen, I have to provide for my son. So, here what? The best option is to go back, finish what you started, and come stronger. You can be your own boss. So, why not? So, I'm here finishing up what I started.
I love it. I mean, like I said, the journey in life, things are gonna come up that you don't anticipate at all, right? Like, as I want to say a stumbling block, but just not what was in your initial plan. You hear the saying, "You make a plan and God laugh," right? But I think it's just it's an important like testament to like, he's like checking, do you really want it, or you just say you want it? Like, are you sure you want it,
Exactly.
or you
Hmm.
just say you want it? And he's like putting these things in your life for you to, rise to the occasion and become a better person for it, right? And I really genuinely believe, like, when situations come up, I mean, we say these sayings just colloquially and we don't put no weight to it, but really people do see the cup either half full or half empty, right? And if you're someone who see the cup half full, you're like pouring into the cup, to make sure it gets full. And if you see the cup half empty, you're just watching it dwindle away and not doing anything to fix it. So that's amazing. So all right, so you got back into school. Now you're a mom. Now you're also in school and also a track personnel at UE, right? How do you balance all three?
Okay, so balancing all three for me has been it's a challenge. I'm not going to tell anybody it's easy because it's something that it's mental, it's spiritual, it's physical, it's everything because I have to remember that my existence now is not only for me. There's someone else that's depending on me.
Hmm.
And I have to also be strong enough for myself. You do have to have grace for yourself just the same.
Yeah.
But I have to get up every day. Sometimes even when you don't want to get up, you know that listen, just by starting, you're almost there. So just
Yeah.
try to finish, keep pushing. You're so much closer. And oftentimes people give up just as they're about to receive what is meant for them. So
Mm.
honestly, every day I try to just keep pushing just a little bit further, small steps, one step at a
Yeah.
time. And that's what gets me through. That's what keeps me consistent. That's the drive to keep me going every day, knowing that, okay, you can't give up, you can't quit. Because guess
Mm.
what? Even when I think about my mother and her dedication and determination, it's inspiration to say, listen, I've never seen her, regardless of whatever she's feeling emotionally, physically,
Yeah.
she's gonna persevere and she's gonna push through because she knows that she has her children and she wants to provide for them. So it's the same when you become a mother. That nurturing instinct inside of me was evolved, and it helps me as a person, as an individual, to
Mm.
just strive every day.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, like, I love how you said it the way you did, and it sounds like you said two things that really stand out to me. One, you mentioned your mom and that relationship you have with your mom.
Yeah.
Kind of dive into that. Like, you seem to have gained a lot of strength and like observational resilience watching your mom go through what she went through in her past. I don't know what it is, but it clearly means that she was able to overcome those obstacles. Like, what does your mom mean to you as it pertains to like your motivation and drive?
So always, she is that drive, she is the push that gets me through. If there's ever a point or a situation in my life that I feel like I can't get through it,
Yeah.
I just need to shift my thoughts or my mind to what would my mother do? Seeing her as a spiritual woman and how she raised us growing up, relying on our faith to get through situations, because she stood on her faith for a lot of the situations that she would have been through as a single mother raising us
Yeah.
up as children, knowing that regardless of what's happening, she's going to do her best and she's not going to settle because she knows that we are depending on her. So she's going to out her utmost best for us. So I have emulated the same resilience to say, listen, I'm going to put out the best for my son and I'm going to put out the best for myself. Anyone that's going to be in my circle, I'm going to be the
Yeah.
protector. I'm going to just be able to put out whatever is needed, because hear what? I'm not about giving up. I'm not about failing. I'm going to cry. I will cry. I'll tell you I'll cry. But after crying, I'm going to pick up the pieces and pull myself together and say, girl, you have to get this done.
Gotcha. So, and you also mentioned something that's key to highlight also is the spirituality, and like how does that strengthen you? Because I've seen on your Instagram you have a Matthew 7 verse 7, and that's a powerful verse. I love that verse because it's an active verse. But kind of walk us through why that's your favorite Bible quote, and like how that your spiritual backing helps you through these moments.
So for me, my spiritual background was present from the earliest stages in my life, because you are from a Caribbean family where you're gonna go to church. So you grew up in the church. It doesn't matter
Gotcha.
what happened later on down the line where you say, oh, you're big now and you don't want to go or whatever. But you're
Right.
gonna grow up in a household, even if my direct household isn't going to church, my grandma, my aunt, all of these persons would be going and they take you along and you go to church. So I would have been saved from an early age, and it was the teachings and principles then that
Hmm.
resonated with me in difficult times in my adulthood, where I could be so firm and grounded to remember that, listen, I'm not alone in whatever it is I'm going through. There is a greater, higher presence that's with me. And as you said, is this what you want? You need to show him that, listen, he has a plan for you and there is purpose for your life. So my Matthew 7 verse 7, it's really the driving force for everything in my life, because he
Mm.
says you should ask for what you need, seek for what you need, and you will find,
Yeah.
knock and that door will open.
Open.
So you have to put in some work. You have to do your part. So I am
Yeah.
for that. So I can't be lazy. I can't be complacent. I have to know that he is doing his part. I need to also do my part. So it's something that drives me every day. And that's how I get through. Just
Yeah,
know that
listen,
I have to show up.
I see the work because, it's not easy what like I said, the three things you're juggling between school, athletics, and being a mom and just surviving life and adulting, being an adult, it's never easy. We're going through at this time unparalleled conditions in the world economy, right? Right. We know what's going on with the Iran war. We know what inflation is doing to our countries. We know we've been through a world recession. We've been through a pandemic, and all of these different things all culminate to 2026, and you still have to navigate it and still show up for yourself, show up for your family, and execute. But my question to you now is like the mechanics of your execution, because
Mhm.
everyone has like a cadence, like the monotonous work that no one likes to talk about but needs to be done, the unsexy work before you get the sexy reward. Like, what's your like monotonous routine? Like, what do you wake up at like 4 a.m.? Do you wake up at 6? Like, what's your process? Then be honest about it. Like, how do you get through the execution week to week?
Listen, I think the execution was the same while early stages of motherhood, while working
Mm-hmm.
and even coming back to university. I think it was a similar schedule. You
Yeah.
start early. There is something about that early rise and trying to get so
Mm.
much in your day done. I don't know how I do it half the time, but I survive on like 5 hours sometimes of sleep because I'm up from like after 5 in the morning. You
Mm.
start getting ready, you go out to train, you get there, you do your session, you finish your
How long is your
session.
session? How
The
long is your
session lasts
session?
like 3 hours sometimes, yeah.
Every
um,
morning it's 3 hours of training.
at
Oh,
least
that's
two and a
you.
half to 3 hours of training, but guess what, it wakes up your body, wakes up your system, it
Mm.
starts your day. You're activated for that day. You go, whether it be gym or regular drills, you just go,
Mm-hmm.
you put in the work. You get that done. Then for me, my days now, it's either juggling at the time, either taking your son to school, going to
Yeah.
work. It's a similar process. I go to school, then I head to the office, get some hours in, do your work, then you come back in. Sometimes there are two schedules for drills, so you'd have probably two session days, like in the morning and afternoon,
Hold
probably
on.
in
So
the
there's not, there's a morning session and then there's an afternoon
afternoon
session.
session. For at least 2 days of the week, you'll have two sessions, other days one. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a gym in the afternoon, you come in, get a bite, you do your gym session, then I have to come back in, you gotta study, you have to then prepare your assignments, whatever it is, you have to get them done. So I'm back in bed around 11, 12 most nights.
And then you
Mentally
wake
back
up back
up,
at
and I'm
5.
telling you, 5 hours. But
Mm.
when you're consistent, there are days when you're like, do I have to, should I? But then when you remember the goal, what you're working towards, you put in the effort. That's why for me, whoever it is that is around, I'm like, listen, we have to motivate each other. So you
Mm.
motivate me, I motivate you. So it's a
Mm.
constant process because some days you're going to feel weak. So you have to
Yeah.
pour into people and people pour back into you just the same to keep you going.
Yeah, no, that's never easy. And I'm just curious, like, so how do you recover? Because I think I hear from good athletes that recovery is also super important. And so it's like what you eat, what do you eat throughout the day that motivates you and keeps you from cramping on doing 2 days a week, 2 days a day, 2 sessions a day in the hot sun in Jamaica, right? I'm very curious about it.
Yeah, so honestly, and my coaches will tell you, rest and
Mm-hmm.
recovery is important. So that's why, honestly, anytime I can get that I don't have to work or study, if it's even
Yeah,
that 30 minutes nap during the day, you can't get a power nap, you take it in between, as well as
gotcha.
when you go off. I should try to be in bed by about 10. That would be
Mm-hmm.
better. But depending on what you have to do in your schedule, you
Yeah.
will probably reduce your rest. But rest is quite important. Usually ice baths. So we do the ice bath to help relax. That's also good
Mm.
treatment. Especially for me, I'm not a signed athlete, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the facility to do all the necessary therapies that are available.
Mm.
So you have to do these things for yourself, invest in yourself, because a lot of what I've done is personal investment, getting my
Mm.
equipment, do my massages and stuff like that. But in
Gotcha,
terms of
gotcha.
eating, I am now, you need high protein diets. Supplements, they're quite expensive. As I said, it's investment in self. So you have to have your protein, whatever.
What type of supplements are you taking? Like, is it
Yeah, so the
creatine or is it like?
I do take
Okay.
creatine. So I do creatine, I'll do my protein, I'll do my beta aniline,
Mm.
I'll
Yeah.
do my vitamins, regular vitamins, 1 a day vitamins to get them, keep your
Yeah.
body, you have to put into your body. But outside of that, my fruits. I'm always having fruits. Those are my snacks. Eggs are cheap enough,
Yeah.
healthy protein. Tuna also. So yeah, you find that in my diet a lot. I do love fish, so I'll be having regular either freshwater fish, or I'll get my grunts, whatever is available at the market, and I just make quick meals along with
Mm.
the tuna. I do potato. I love ground provision. As a country girl, I'm not for my
Mm-hmm.
rice. I'm sorry. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
your yam, your banana, your sweet potato, your pumpkin, all of that, I have that a lot. So that's how.
Gotcha.
So they tell you about Jamaica and the food. The food is
Yeah.
your fuel. It is,
Yep.
because that helps to restore your body as well, and a lot of fiber
Do,
in the diet.
do you like meal prep for the rest of for the week or do you cook during the week? Everyone does
So
that a little different. Just curious. Yeah.
oftentimes you're gonna be lazy, like myself. So
Yeah.
meal preps help. Meal preps do help. If not for the week, at least 3 days. So midway the week, I'm not so drained, and then I can
Yeah.
probably reboot because I like to change and have variety. So then I
Mm-hmm.
make a lot of different stuff. But yeah, I
Gotcha.
do my meal preps, and that helps me get through. Yeah.
Got you, got you. Okay, I mean, listen, it's never easy, but it's always worth it. That's what I always say to myself. It's never easy, but it's always worth it in the end. But the execution, right, everyone talks like super high level, like motivate, execute, but no one gives you like tangible, executable steps how they deal with it day to day, right? Like this is when I wake up, this is how I eat, this is what I'm eating. This is like enlightening to me that you're training. I know athletes train 2 times a day, like professional athletes, like basketball players, like they're NBA players that play train 2 times a day. I know jiu-jitsu athletes, that's what they do. But yeah, it's to train track 2 times a day is rough. Like 2 times out of the week, you know. So I always wondered, I was curious how you recover from that. But yeah, no, definitely never easy but always worth it. I wanna ask you about what you use in your mental fortitude to deal with like these difficult moments, right? Like, so right now you're training, right? I'm sure you're dealing with training challenges, right? Like maybe you're doing the long jump, but the technique isn't the way you want it, or building strength in the gym, maybe the squat not the way you want it, the deadlift not the way you're hitting these plateaus. Like, how do you work through your plateau moments in your training?
So honestly, it does happen, and I'm gonna tell you that it's real. And it comes back down to your corner and your support system, like
Yeah.
who is there for you. Having coaches that you're able to speak to that will actually, they see when you're at some of these moments and
Mm,
they can help. I've had those moments, and I was like, how did my coach realize that I was going through this type of probably withdrawal, or I was feeling down about a poor performance or something?
yeah.
And that helps in terms of getting you the motivation that you need, because not every day is going to be a great day. Some days are going to
Mm,
be bad days. Having competitive teammates that are still of inspiration.
Yep.
So even though you're going to be competitive, they still reach out and they say, hey, I saw something off about your technique and I think that you could work on this. So when once it's coming from a good place, you can appreciate and actually relate to these comments when you get them. But
Gotcha.
also personally for myself, how I deal with these down moments, music. Music gets me away from a lot of those things. Music sometimes can be used for the driving force to calm, to
Mm,
relax. So, like,
mm,
even starting my day, starting training or workout, I'll be listening into my gospel. But as I
mm.
transition throughout my day, you take to upbeat music, more R&B or souls, but something that will provide you with the solace that you need to give you the calm or the energy boost, the bump up that you need, based on
Yeah.
however you're feeling it. If you're feeling low, or what do you need? So it does
Gotcha.
help me a lot as well.
Do you drink any coffee in the morning, or you do you drink
No, I'm
mm,
not
no
the I'm
caffeine?
not the caffeine person, so no,
Gotcha.
I don't drink
Tea,
coffee.
or like green tea, or
No, no green tea for me here.
mm,
Honestly, especially going to a training session, half the
yeah.
time I go practically in an empty stomach, and when I'm there, I'll probably
Okay.
have fruits or a snack during or
Gotcha.
after a session, just something light to keep me going because
Mm-hmm.
the training is intense. And if you take something too much,
Too
you're gonna
much in the
take your
morning,
own
you're gonna
downfall.
vomit.
So,
Yeah, you're gonna
yeah.
vomit.
But everybody's body is different. I have
Mm-hmm.
teammates who they won't come to the track unless they've had breakfast, something light, some tea, a toast, or
Mm,
something. So
gotcha.
it's based on what your body requires and how you manage it. That's how it's best.
Got it. Understood. Okay, okay. And then, well, through all the training and being in track for so long, obviously it shows in your body, and you've done now become a fitness model. So, like, what kind of walk us through your progression into fitness modeling? How did you know that was something you wanted to do, or you're interested in it? How did you get, kind of walk us through your fitness modeling journey?
Well, I told you I had a surprise for you.
Yes.
So actually, I've been doing track, so my body physique looks very athletic. Funny
Mm-hmm.
story. While Mr. Cooper, I would have gone to try out for modeling, regular modeling. They told me you have an athletic build because that wasn't what they were looking for at the time. They wanted more
Mm-hmm.
petite models, and I was like, "Wow, you guys don't think I would fit?" I found it
Yeah.
interesting, but it never deterred me. I always did pageants,
Mm-hmm.
and there was always a place. You have a sports body, so it's quite healthy and so forth. So, what I've actually embarked on recently is the bodybuilding, beach fitness,
Mm-hmm.
beach wellness. All of these are something that I'm actually going to be entering to compete very soon. I think it's
Okay,
something
nice.
that would have suit my body type,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to showcase and hopefully be able to represent my country
Mm-hmm.
on the international stage with that. So once my body was already athletic and it's something that is maintained through constant work, why not?
Yeah.
I love to do fitness shoots and now fitness training and also bodybuilding.
Okay, nice. Well, my question also was just like, how did you even get into pageantry? Like, was that in high school? Did you do that in college? Like, when did you start
From
pageantry?
as young as basic school, I
Oh,
had the
really? Okay.
I had the interest and presence to just be on the stage. I was
Mm.
winning titles from preschool.
Oh, okay.
Preschool
Gotcha, gotcha.
titles come straight up through high school, community titles. Even at the university, I would have won first runner up for Miss UE in 2016.
Mm,
So it's something that I've constantly been representing, even at the parish level. I just love it. So why not?
mm.
Let's get out there.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, what was it something that your parents introduced to you, or you just had a natural love and you saw the competition, you're like, hey, I want to do this?
So, funny enough, my family, a distant cousin, is Nadine Willis. So the
Okay.
interest for me was from I was 6 years old, and Nadine was popular
Um,
at the time.
and for the viewers and listeners, who is Nadine Willis? Can I give some context to that?
So Nadine Willis was one of the runway athletes for Pulse at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was early
Okay.
2000s, representing Jamaica on the international stage, different
Okay.
brands and so forth. And when I saw her, I said to my mom, because I was a chubby baby, I said, I'm watching my diet. I need
Mm.
to be a model. And they were
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, okay. And from 6 years old, I said, listen, I'm going to model. So, yes.
Mm. Gotcha. Okay, okay, okay. So you set the pace, you set the trend. Like, hey, this is what I wanted to do, and like I said, everyone passion comes to them in different ways. Sometimes, like for me, I was very passionate about tennis, but initially I had no interest in tennis. My mom literally bought the racket for me, and it's like I paid for the classes. You got to go, and I was like. I mean, if you already paid for the classes, I'll go. And then I fell in love with it. I enjoyed it, and I competed. I became first. I was a chunky, chubby kid running across the court trying to get the ball. Couldn't get to any of the balls. Everyone's laughing, and I just kept showing up, kept practicing, kept training, and before you know it, you start losing the weight, right? Now, what used to be a disadvantage becomes an advantage, because you were carrying that weight, you also carried the force of that person who had that weight. So my
Yeah.
serves, my forehand, my everything was just more stronger than the kids that I would play with, because I just had on more weight when I was, you know, just starting to train. And then
Yeah.
I became captain. Everyone's laughs becomes Oz, right? Everyone be like, "Oh wow, like you really are like good at this thing now, right?" And became national champion at sixth grade, and then I came to Arden, right? And so that moment in my life was like, oh, if you take the same discipline to learning anything new in your life, and just keep executing when everyone else is laughing. Keep executing when you don't feel like executing. Just keep showing up. The hardest thing is, to me personally, even though in my adult years, going to the gym, I was like, I don't even focus on what I'm gonna do in the gym. I already kind of have an idea what I'm gonna do in the gym already, but my focus is like get to the gym. If you can get
Yeah.
to the gym, you are going to work out. There's no one who gets in the gym, put on the clothes, and not go work out. You're not gonna walk out without a workout.
I
But
do agree.
that mental fight with yourself, like, God, I just got off work. I'm tired. I just want to go home, kick my feet up, drink a beer and eat and just relax. I have work to do at work already, and like committing to yourself, like, nah, I'm gonna go. And even when I'm driving out the parking lot, I can take a left to go home, or I can take a right to go to the gym. And you're still questioning it, like, yo, I could just take this left. No one's here. Who's ever going to hold me accountable to going left? The people will understand, and it's like, nah, we're gonna take the right, get to the gym, and then you have the workout and you're happy that you did it. But every time it's a fight. And so people will come to me, is like, oh, how do you have this level of discipline? I'm like, dude, I fight for my discipline every day. It's a fight every day to stay disciplined. I'm not this super soldier that just gets up motivated every day to do it. I just choose not to let myself down. I choose to
That's
show up for myself.
precisely, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Just getting there. It's the same for me. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think people think like there's something special. It isn't. It's just showing up. And I know by just being there,
Mm-hmm.
reaching to the gym, I'm gonna have the best time because it's like my happy place. And honestly, when you
Yeah.
think about it, with all the pressures of work, school, and being a parent, it's
Yeah.
a getaway for me. Training track and going to the gym, it's
Mm-hmm.
like my safe space. I don't have to think about anything else. So
Yes.
when I'm there, I just enjoy the moment. It's
Yeah.
really a de-stress. Best believe it is.
Yeah. It took like so when I initially started working out back in Arden, it was just for aesthetics. Oh, it was completely for vanity. I just wanted to be in shape and be sexy. But then after training for a number of years, and then like say you stop training, I'm like, why do I feel like or like depressed or sad or like not feeling like myself, right? And then you go back in the gym and you're like, oh, I feel great. No, because I'm consistently showing up to the gym. And I start going, oh, it's the gym isn't just for my body, it's for my
It
mental
is.
relaxation and my mental fortitude. Like I tell people all the time, like I go to the gym for my de-stress. Like it's a productive way to de-stress. But a lot of persons don't get to that point because they're thinking about how they're going to be huffing and puffing on the treadmill, and it sucks. Like, yeah, it sucks in this moment when you're huffing and puffing and training and failing, but the I look forward to after training. The moment you're done training and you're walking out the gym, you feel so accomplished. You
Yes, you
feel so
do.
like, and it raises everything. All the feel good drugs, what they call dopamine, oxycodone, all these different drugs that are in your system, music, serotonin, all these chemicals get released during a workout. When you're having a deep conversation or you've committed to yourself to do something and then you go and do it. So and you're like a renaissance person because while you're doing all of this, you're also helping your family with your family business, right? So kind of walk us through the family business. What is the family business and how people can get in touch with you regarding the business and how they can support the family business.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. So that's why for me, being my own boss, being the
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur is important because
Yeah.
growing up in the countryside and growing up on a farm, persons don't know that side of me. They don't know the background because it's not usually
Yeah.
publicized. They just see you, you appear nice, but they don't
Yeah.
know, okay, this is where your roots are. So, what I do have is a farm business that we basically source we rear them as well as we source them, so it's poultry and other livestock as well as ground provisions that we do have. So it's R&H Farms, and
Mm-hmm.
it's locally based here in Jamaica, and we basically outsource to small restaurants, the markets. Those are our primary sources right now and regular use for the community. um, and that's something that I'm trying to expand to get it even on campus so it can be commercialized to students who wish to purchase produce on campus.
Nice. I mean, like it ties into your biology, ties into your wanting to help people, and you're helping people in multitudes of ways, not just on the fitness side, but part of fitness is what you put in your body as fuel, right? So, it just seems that the pageantry certainly doesn't not help with advocating and being an ambassador for health, right? So, definitely see where all of this is culminating to. You put up a dope picture recently. I thought it was a Nike commercial when I saw the photo. Just kind of walk us through. That was that your first like truly fitness centric photo shoot?
Yes, it was. It was a collaboration shoot with
Mm-hmm.
local designers to basically showcase their products. It was my first of its kind, but it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
the last. Definitely a platform that I'm going to be expanding on. More collaboration with local and possibly international designers as well. So basically, I am putting myself out there in terms of modeling, doing photo shoots, as
Yeah.
well as shows. I do fashion shows primarily for swimwear or fitness
Mm-hmm.
wear. And I also now am training for the bodybuilding competition to also utilize that as a platform for further exposure in the fitness field.
Gotcha. And then you also mentioned at some point you're working on building out a platform for training people too, because I'm sure, like myself, I come to you all the time, like, hey, like, what are you doing? Because how you find the energy to train 5 times a week and then two times of the day on 2 days of the week. I find myself also coming to you for like advice. So like, I'm sure other persons are coming to you for advice on wanting training. So like, how do you? Like, are you making a platform for that? Like, how are you working on that journey also?
So definitely. So it's in the pipelines.
Mhm.
Working on the website itself to provide the service. So the service initially is going to be provided for online base. It's going to be available for local persons here in Jamaica, so they can also utilize face-to-face sessions for personal training as well as meal plans for those persons who do need it, because
Yeah,
it's a holistic service that I do intend to offer, because I want your holistic development, your holistic health and wellness.
yeah,
So it's basically offering training, coaching. However, the individual needs it, it will be offered, as well as video platforms so you can actually watch the routines and practice on your own, because it's for the overall benefit of anyone who is willing to try and actually make that change.
gotcha. And for me, every time I talk to anyone who's training, the thing that they hate doing is running. You find that people like hate running. How do you like get over the, not want to say the fear, but the dislike for running? Because I feel like you have to add running somewhere into your training profile to lose weight or swim or do something active like that. But like, did you always like running, or is it something that you grew into like?
So definitely, for me, I've always liked running, and I
Hmm.
think what people and the difference with me, even now being in bodybuilding, people
Yeah.
often tend to just try to bulk up and not be able to be mobile. A part
Mm,
of actually being healthy, you need to be able to move the weights, lift
mhm,
heavy, and so forth, but
yeah.
also have mobility and stability. And that is only developed through doing proper cardio, being
Hmm.
active in terms of whether it be jogging, walking, running, swimming. But you have to actually be active, not only lifting the weight. So your body is able to maintain even what you're putting on in muscle. So it's something that I think persons don't need to be afraid of. You take it in stages or paces. So that's why I would be there as a guide to assist you based on your goals, to see where it is you need to be, whether it's recovery, rehab, or if you're just trying to get overall strength, what it is you'll need to work on.
Gotcha. And then my last question for you is just if you could look back and tell your younger self, right? Say young Treshawna in high school, some tips or things that you would want to pass on to a younger version to yourself, what would that be?
Okay, so one thing I would want to pass on to the younger version of myself or anyone else is basically trust yourself and believe in yourself. And the path that you're treading is not like anyone else's. You have your own story to tell, so don't doubt yourself. Really put your best foot forward every day. Every single day you get up, go out there and be the best version of yourself. You're not guaranteed tomorrow, so you really just have to make the best use of it today.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great segue. And I want to say, especially as somebody who knew you in high school and the range that you have between your interest in marine biology, being an athlete, and we met in the art program at Arden, like your interest in art, your ability to pivot, the ability to speak and advocate for yourself, but also for others. The sky's the limit for you, and we're here to support you in any way that we can. So thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast. It really truly was an inspiration having you here, even for myself. Because like I said, I see the growth. I've seen you from high school and what you're doing now. Just super excited for what you're going to do in the future.
Thank you. It was really an honor, and it also helped me to realize that my journey is still continuing. I have come so far and there's still further to grow. So why not?
Mhm.
Let's dream big and let
Mhm.
us
Yeah,
accomplish that.
yeah, love it, love it. Thank you for taking the time.